I don't wish it on him, you
Right.
know what I'm saying? I don't wish it on him. And I love him through it. Whatever he going through, I love him through it. Much criticism as I receive about my son, I would like to shed light on the fact.
It was meant to be a quiet night in Atlanta, but around 3 in the morning, the city's quiet was broken by news that no parent wants to hear. King Harris, the son of Tiny and rap icon T, was barely surviving in an intensive care unit. Prepare for the worst. The Harris family's horror had just begun. His fragile body was strapped to machines, and his heartbeat was stopping every second while physicians shouted the most terrifying words. The hip-hop community as a whole was holding its breath. Fluorescent lights flickered inside Grady Memorial, monitors shrieked alarms, and physicians rushed around his bed in a desperate attempt to save his life. It was more than just a medical crisis. It looked like something from a horror film, and with each new leak, rumor, and revelation that exploded on the internet, it just grew darker. In the hospital hallway, Tiny King's mother passed out. Her body was shaking so badly that nurses had to hold her up as her screams reverberated through the hallways. Millions of fans worldwide were moved to tears when that tragic event was captured on camera and went viral on social media. Within minutes, hashtags like #JJustice for King Harris and #Prayer for King soared to the top of the global trends, while the entire world wept for the Harris family. Startling information started to come to light, turning this tragedy into something far darker. A leaked medical report said that King's injuries were not the result of a straightforward altercation in the jailhouse. No. According to insiders, his body had intentional torture wounds and patterns too exact and brutal to be described by fists and kicks. There was more to this than violence. It was a message. Someone wanted him destroyed, possibly permanently. The audio release that sent shockwaves across the nation followed. One statement turned the entire internet upside down. The order came from above. We just cleared the way. A prison guard's voice could be heard whispering in a blurry video. Who issued the directive? Who were so determined to quiet King Harris that they made his beating seem like a pre-arranged execution. Try to balance the positive with the negative and simply inform them that you will be sent to prison if you continue. Conspiracy theorists, bloggers, and fans quickly blamed everyone from rival gangs to industry, rivals to influential members of the political and criminal justice systems. There were even whispers that this had nothing to do with King. The goal was to permanently silence the Harris family. And just when folks believed that things couldn't get any more spooky, a new rumor became viral on the internet. A purported ICU CCTV footage purports to show masked intruders breaking into King's hospital room late at night and messing with his life support equipment. If that video is authentic, it indicates that King's life was not even safe within a medical facility full of medical professionals because powers greater than anyone could have predicted wanted him dead. Chaos was engulfing the scene outside the hospital. "Protect King" was chanted by protesters, supporters, and family members as they gathered in the streets, holding candles in the chilly Atlanta air. While some called for justice, others prayed. Anger and anguish coexisted in the electrifying environment. T himself stood broken inside. The once self-assured man was now broken, pacing the hallways with trembling hands and a cracked voice pleading with the cameras. "My son is being targeted like he's some kind of enemy. He's just a kid. Please, someone stop this madness." His raw plea instantly went viral, drawing waves of support from some and cold comments from others who heartlessly claimed this was karma for T.I.'s past. The internet split in two, half rallying behind the Harris family, half mocking their pain, turning a private family tragedy into a global public spectacle. And then came the footage no one was prepared for. An anonymous source claimed to have CCTV from inside the hospital showing two hooded figures creeping into King's ICU around 2:47 a.m. One crouched near his bed while the other acted as a lookout by the door. The clip cut off before showing more, but the implications were terrifying. Someone was actively sabotaging his recovery. Nurses and doctors, already under enormous pressure, reportedly whispered that they feared outside interference, that even within the hospital walls, King's life wasn't safe. One whistleblower nurse even revealed that King's ventilator had mysteriously shut off for several seconds earlier that night before alarms screamed, and the footage of that exact moment gone from hospital records. Was it coincidence or a full-blown cover-up? Nobody knew, but the internet went wild, accusing powerful players of pulling strings to erase evidence and silence King forever. Meanwhile, the Harris family's grief kept spilling out for the world to see. Tiny was filmed crying so hard outside the ICU doors that she nearly passed out again, begging, "Don't take my baby. Don't take him from me." The clip broke millions of hearts and was replayed endlessly on TikTok and Instagram. T, unable to control his emotions, allegedly punched walls, screamed at doctors, and accused the hospital of lying to cover up what he believed was murder. Witnesses said his rage was so explosive that security had to step in after he smashed a chair. Those images spread across the internet instantly, painting a picture of a father fighting not just for his son's life, but against the system he believed was out to erase him. As if the storm wasn't already unbearable, another shocking claim surfaced. King's blood reportedly tested positive for foreign toxins, substances not linked to the jail beating and not part of any prescribed hospital medication. The whispers got louder. Was someone poisoning him inside the hospital? Anonymous hacker groups even claimed they accessed hospital files, posting, "They're not saving King, they're finishing him." Fans across the globe erupted, convinced this wasn't just about a fight gone wrong, but a targeted attack backed by serious power. Outside, protests escalated. Some demonstrators clashed with riot police stationed at the hospital doors. Tear gas filled the air as the city turned into a battleground over King's fate. Social media live streams captured every second, with millions watching in real time as Atlanta burned with fury and grief. By sunrise, this wasn't just about a teenager fighting for his life. This had exploded into a war of narratives. Some claiming King was paying for the sins of his father, others saying he was a victim of an industry plot designed to silence him before he spoke out. And with every rumor, every leak, every scream from the ICU, the truth became harder to find. What was undeniable, though, was this: King Harris was caught in the middle of a storm bigger than himself, a storm threatening to shatter not just his family, but the entire industry watching from the shadows. As dawn broke over Atlanta, the nightmare only deepened. King Harris's condition slipped from critical but stable into something far more terrifying. Doctors whispered about organ failure. Nurses ran from room to room with trays of emergency drugs, and every beat from the machine strapped to King's fragile body hit like a hammer in the hearts of his family. Around 500 a.m., T and Tiny were pulled into a private room and told words that no parent should ever be forced to hear. "If we don't see improvements soon, we may have to discuss letting him go." That single line shattered the Harris family. Tiny collapsed again, screaming so loudly. Staff said her cry shook the entire floor. Witnesses claimed she had to be treated herself after fainting. A secret recording of that exact breakdown leaked online, flooding millions of feeds, turning the internet into a river of tears. People didn't just see grief. They felt it raw and unfiltered, like the entire world was watching a mother lose her soul in real time. But just when it felt like nothing could get worse, another confidential report leaked. This one suggesting King's bloodstream contained traces of a mysterious substance that didn't match any treatment doctors had given. Analysts quickly ruled out common drugs, implying that this wasn't just a medical crisis. It was sabotage. Somebody had tampered with the fourth lines, sneaking poison into his system while he was lying defenseless in that bed. That revelation exploded online, fueling hashtags like #ICU breach and #Protect King Harris. Fans demanded answers. How could the son of one of hip-hop's biggest names, a high-profile patient in one of Atlanta's busiest hospitals, be left so vulnerable? Within hours, anonymous accounts dropped yet another clip. Supposedly CCTV footage of two hooded figures creeping into King's ICU room. One bent down near his bed while the other stood guard at the door. The clip cut off before showing what they did, but the message was clear. Someone didn't just want King hurt, they wanted him gone. And they weren't stopping at the jail walls. They followed him straight into the hospital. The chaos outside the hospital was just as wild. Fans and protesters packed the streets, some holding candles, some holding signs reading, "Justice for King." The air was thick with tension, chants echoing, helicopters circling, and police in riot gear trying to hold the line. The hospital no longer looked like a place of healing, asterisk. It looked like a war zone. Reporters swarmed. Cameras caught every scream, every argument, every tear, and the Harris family's private pain was now being broadcast worldwide. Tiny's relatives reportedly pointed fingers at T, accusing him of bringing a curse on the family with his past lifestyle. T snapped back, yelling, "This ain't karma, this is murder." That heated exchange was caught on camera, went viral instantly, and only deepened the divide online. The internet split between those who believed King was an innocent victim of a dark conspiracy and those who insisted the Harris family was paying for old sins. Then, another chilling leak dropped like a bomb. This time, not from guards or nurses, but allegedly from a high-ranking official tied to Georgia's prison system. In a muffled call, a voice said the words that froze everyone. "If the boy talks, everything collapses. He can't leave that bed alive." That one sentence set the internet on fire. Suddenly, this wasn't just about King being attacked because of who his father was. No, fans now believed King was sitting on secrets so dangerous that powerful people wanted him silenced forever. T, readied and broken, doubled down outside the hospital, telling reporters, "My son is a victim of a system that would rather silence him than safeguard him. This is not a coincidence. This is planned." His statement split the internet even more. Some standing with him, others mocking, saying he was using tragedy to gain sympathy. But whether people believed him or not, one fact was undeniable. The Harris family was living through hell, and the whole world was watching. Inside the ICU, the horror kept piling up. A whistleblower nurse risked her career to reveal that King's ventilator had mysteriously shut off for several seconds, in the middle of the night before alarms went off. And when staff went back to review security footage from that moment, the files were missing. Gone, erased like they'd never existed. Coincidence or deliberate cover-up? Fans across the globe didn't hesitate. They screamed cover-up. Social media was drowning in conspiracy threads, some saying this was mafia-style revenge, others claiming jealous rappers set it up, and even more insisting the government was involved. Theories spread like wildfire. But the one thing nobody doubted was that King Harris's life was hanging by a thread. Even celebrities began to chime in, making the storm bigger. Cardi B went live crying, saying, "That baby don't deserve this. I don't give a damn about what you guys think of his father." Snoop Dogg fueled the flames by cryptically saying, "The industry ain't what it seems. Pray for King Man. Keep your children safe. They after all of us." Those words sent chills across social media as if confirming what fans already feared, that something much larger, much darker, was unfolding behind the scenes. And while celebrities spoke, the hospital itself turned into a fortress. Security was tripled after protesters tried to storm the entrance. Police lined up in riot gear. The whole place looked less like a hospital and more like a battleground. With King Harris's life at the center of it all, doctors inside grew more desperate. They whispered phrases like multi-organ failure and irreversible damage, cold medical words that ripped the Harris family to pieces. One insider claimed T lost control completely, punching walls, screaming at doctors, shouting, "Don't tell me to let go. You're telling lies. You're not doing enough." His rage terrified patients and staff alike, but it also showed just how shattered he truly was. Meanwhile, Tiny clutched King's hand so tightly nurses had to pull her back. Neither parent would leave his side, even as doctors warned the hours ahead would decide everything. By morning, social media was drowning in unverified leaks, each scarier than the last, including one that claimed King had actually been declared clinically dead for nearly 2 minutes before doctors shocked his heart back to life with electric paddles. If true, it meant the Harris family had already watched their son die once, only for him to be dragged back from the brink. That revelation sent fans into a frenzy, sobbing at the thought of a mother almost losing her child in real time and speculating whether someone was deliberately keeping King trapped between life and death. By noon, what had started as a personal family tragedy had exploded into a full-blown international scandal. Protesters outside had grown from hundreds to thousands, chanting louder, crying harder, demanding justice. Helicopters hovered overhead as Atlanta turned into a city under siege. Inside, T and Tiny refused to leave King's bedside, even as his body showed signs of shutting down. Doctors told them again, "Prepare for the worst." And that phrase, when leaked, went viral instantly. #prepare for King shot to the top of the trends with millions of fans posting prayers, videos, and desperate pleas for a miracle. But alongside the prayers came darker whispers that this wasn't an accident, that it wasn't fate, but a plot carefully orchestrated by powerful hands, determined to finish what started in that jail cell. King Harris wasn't just a teenager fighting for his life. He was now the center of one of the darkest, most controversial stories the rap game had ever seen. By nightfall, Atlanta was a city on edge. Grady Memorial Hospital looked less like a medical center and more like a battlefield with riot police guarding the doors, helicopters buzzing overhead, and thousands of fans holding signs and candles chanting justice for King. The world wasn't just watching anymore, it was demanding answers. Inside, the atmosphere was suffocating. King Harris's condition had hit rock bottom, his lungs failing, kidneys shutting down, and every passing hour pushing him closer to the edge. Doctors whispered the words no family ever wants to hear: "Prepare for the worst." When that phrase leaked, it ripped through the internet like lightning, fueling a wave of panic so massive that "Prepare for King" became the top trending topic worldwide. People were pleading for a miracle rather than merely tweeting their prayers. Then the most startling assertion of all was made. Doctors reportedly shocked King's heart back to life after declaring him clinically dead for 2 full minutes. A whistleblower described a young man who had already been rescued from death's clutches once, insisting that the team needed to use electric paddles twice, only to restart his pulse. Fans were devastated by that revelation. Some people broke down in tears. Others began to believe that this was more than fate. They thought that King was being purposefully kept in a precarious situation. An open conflict between T and Tiny and the hospital resulted from their sadness. After learning that his son's heart had stopped beating, witnesses said T became furious and stormed into the intensive care unit hallway, yelling at the administration, "I promise that the truth will be revealed if my son passes away. Do you guys believe this to be medicine? No, this is murder." Before being held by security, he allegedly slammed a chair against the wall in his rage. Millions of people watched the father's breaking point in real time as the video went viral on social media almost immediately after it was shared online. Outside the intensive care unit doors, Tiny was captured on camera lowering herself to her knees while holding a rosary and sobbing so deeply that she was having trouble breathing. YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok all have repeated replays of that tragic event, one of the most depressing scenes of the year. According to anchors around the world, fans were in tears as they saw a mother pleading with God to save her son. The suffering of the Harris family had become one of the most well-known tragedies in modern history, a time where tragedy, plot, and spectacle all came together at once. The storm, however, was not abating. According to a classified study released by anonymous hackers who claimed to have gained access to medical records, King's bloodstream included foreign toxin substances that didn't correspond with any prescription drugs. The hackers' declaration that they're not saving King, they're finishing him, was added fuel to an already blazing fire, and protesters outside the hospital burst out shouting, "Cover up, hide," while others clashed with police. Tear gas filled the streets as live streams captured the chaos in real time. Millions tuning in to watch Atlanta turn into a city of unrest. In the celebrity world, they couldn't stay quiet anymore. 50 Cent jumped on Instagram calling out industry snakes he claimed orchestrated the attack. Meek Mill tweeted, "They try to silence the next generation before they even begin. This is what happens when you say no to them." Kanye West wrote in his own cryptic message, "This ain't no accident. They punish your bloodline." Each statement only fueled the fire, making fans more convinced King wasn't just a victim of violence. He was caught in the middle of a much bigger war involving industry power, prison, corruption, and politics. The theories hit levels of pure insanity. Some swore jealous rappers set this up out of revenge. Others claimed rival gangs wanted to send a message to T.I., and more extreme voices said government officials were silencing King because of something he knew. Anonymous accounts even claimed King had been working on an unreleased track that allegedly exposed powerful names in the industry, and that was the real reason behind his brutal attack. Whether true or not, the speculation had spiraled beyond control. The internet was no longer just following the story, it was driving it, shaping the narrative minute by minute, leak by leak, post by post. King Harris's life had become a global spectacle. Every tear from his parents, every scream from his fans, every rumor of sabotage feeding the fire of a tragedy that refused to slow down. And then came the chilling footage that sent shivers across the world. A supposed ICU camera feed showing two masked men lurking outside King's hospital room, one holding what looked like a small case. Conspiracy theorists swore it contained poison or tools to tamper with medical equipment. Whether real or fake, the clip went viral in minutes, convincing millions that King was still under attack, even inside the walls of the hospital. By late evening, T stepped outside to face the massive crowd gathered in the streets. His face was soaked with tears, his body trembling, his voice cracking as he cried out, "They told me to prepare for the worst. But how do you prepare for losing your child? While the world looks on, my kid is in there battling for his life. Please, 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 increase the intensity of your prayers. This is not fair to him. None of this is fair." That heartbreaking plea instantly went viral, being replayed millions of times across every platform. Fans described it as one of the rawest, most emotional moments ever seen from a rap legend. A father stripped bare by pain, begging the world to pray for his son. But even as those words echoed across social media, the rumors refused to stop. Some were convinced that this wasn't just a brutal jail fight gone wrong. It was an assassination attempt carefully planned from the top down. Why did the prison cameras cut out during the attack? Who ordered the guards to stand down? Who made sure leaks kept disappearing from hospital records? The questions only multiplied while the answers remained buried in shadows. Doctors warned again that the next 24 hours were critical. King Harris was still clinging to life, still caught between survival and tragedy, still the center of one of the most chilling stories Atlanta had ever seen. His family was told once more to prepare for the unthinkable, but they refused to let go, holding on to faith while the world held its breath. So, here's the reality. This isn't gossip, it isn't just entertainment, and it isn't over. What's happening to King Harris's tragedy, unfolding in real time. A storm that shattered his family, divided fans, and shaken the industry to its core. And the scariest part, every leak, every scream, every whispered rumor feels like only the beginning. Behind the curtains, darker secrets are waiting to explode. Secrets that could shake not just Atlanta, but the entire world when the next bomb drops. Will King survive this nightmare? Or will the Harris family be forced to face the most devastating loss of all? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. This story isn't done shaking the culture, and we'll be here watching every second as it unfolds.